Now let's move on to the next topic. We will use the eligibility rules throughout. I mean the course whenever we are using compensation. But let's learn a little bit about what are compensation elements and what are compensation grades and grade profiles. So a compensation element maps the compensation plans to the payroll earnings. This is just the heading under which an employee is going to get paid. Okay, compensation elements and the payment types that are included. Sorry, the typo 1 second. It should be give me a second. So it should be. Compensation elements are the payment types that are included in the compensation plans and compensation element groups. Okay, what are some of the examples of compensation elements, like base pay, car allowance, commissions are all examples of compensation elements. This is actually the heading under which an employee will get paid. Okay, it's a payment type. That's it. Now let's talk about grades and grade profiles. It's a very, very interesting topic. Agreed, is the pay range right? We know that a grade is the pay range. And it is a reference, or, in other words, it is a guideline. Very important. A compensation grade is a guideline. Okay, it will give you the range as a reference. Okay. Now grade profile is kind of a subset of a compensation grade. But the grade profile will allow you to assign a worker to a different compensation range than the default. What does that mean? Let's use an example. Okay, let's use an example here. Let's say you are saying managers is a great. Right, manager is a great and you are saying that. Okay, my manager will get between 50,000 $280,000 US, right? That is a compensation of a manager. This is a range, right? It's a compensation grade is a range of pay. Now, this was all fine when you had offices only in the US. Now you are opening up offices in the UK as well. Okay, and in the UK you started hiring and you are seeing you look at the marketplace. You look at the compensation that is given there and your compensation team comes up with the new guidelines. It says 40,000 to 90,000 GBP, the British pound. Okay, and this is for your managers, but in London or in the UK in general. Is this a problem? The way we define the compensation. If I now hire a worker in the US, what is my range? 50 to 80. If I hire a worker in the UK, you're saying 40,000, 80,000. Yeah, but in the grade, in the compensation, if I say what is the range of pay for managers? What is the range of pay for managers? So let's say, if you allow this, so how will you define the range now? Now let me make it even more confusing. Let's say for India. India, Bangalore, India. Right, you are paying, let's say, 10 lakhs to 25 lakhs. INR. Now go figure, what is the range of pay for managers? So now you are going to do a conversion, that means you have to know the rates and so on. It makes it so complicated. Now, let's say, a recruiter or maybe a compensation partner, who is hiring someone in India. Will he or she be bothered about what is the grade in the UK or what is the grade in the US? Should they be even looking at those ranges? No, right. No, right. All the members in a supervisory organization may not be in the same location. Right, and we also had this other condition and other question that I asked. Does all the members of a supervisory organization have to belong to the same company? And we all agreed that the answer is no. So now, if you are hiring managers in a supervisory organization, and those managers happen to be in different countries, we are doing it based on the company, right? Yes, but when we are doing this company, when we are hiring managers, we are all putting them in the same supervisory organization. Right. We are not doing it here on the basis of company yet. I'm just asking that. Okay, they are in different locations, different countries, with different currencies, right? So what is my pay range, then, for managers? That's the question. You can see that here. You have some conditions, right? It has to be like US, UK, India. So it is like based on the country. But my question is it very straightforward to answer? What is the range of pay for managers? The answer is no, but do we have ranges for each country? So there is a range of pay. But can I say it is localized? The range of pay is localized. Can I say, like, right? So it is localized. So the range is there, but it is more localized. Correct. So to achieve that, we have something called as grade profiles. The grade profile will allow you to assign a worker to a different compensation range than the default. Right. So we have to use. If you have people who are going to be using different range of pay, then we have to use grade profiles. We may not use grade profiles if everybody falls under the same range, right? If we have all the workers in the US in the same location without much fuss, then yeah, you can just define one range, right? That's fine. Or maybe you decide that, okay, irrespective of the location at my worker, can be in UK, India, China, Brazil, doesn't matter. I will pay them the same rate as my employee in the US. Right. You may be generous, you may do that. So in that case, do you need separate ranges for each country, each location? If you are going to pay everybody the same way? The answer is no, right? If you have one range for everybody for all managers, and you don't need to create separate ranges. But that is not how organizations work, isn't it? We have different ranges of pay based on multiple factors. Isn't it? So the point is, if you are going to have different ranges of pay based on any condition, then you need to localize your range of pay, and we have to use something called as grade profiles. So grade profiles will allow you to assign a worker to a different compensation range than the default. Now there is some best practices associated with this. If your grades are going to have profiles, if at all, you are going to have multiple ranges of pay based on some localizations, then the best practice is to set up grades with the default paid in your CEO. Right, like going back to our example, if I ask you, what is the range of pay? In this particular case, can we say 10 lakhs to 25 lakhs? You see, the upper range here, 25 lakhs, is still less than $50,000. If you do the currency conversion, because $50,000 comes up here on 35 lakhs or maybe a little bit more, 37, 38 lakhs, right? So this is completely two different ranges. So how will I say what is the range of pay for managers? Difficult to say, so we will say it is 0 to 0. 0 to 0 USD, that is the range of. Okay, we will not define anything. Instead, we are defining the ranges in the grade profiles. I confused you, right? Okay, but now. Okay, let me ask you this. Do we need to use grade profiles always? Should we always use grade profiles? What is the answer? Yes or no? Not always, right? We need not use grade profiles if we are going to pay our employees in the same manner. If you do not need to have separate ranges, then we do not need to use grade profiles in that case. What will we use if all managers are in the US? Let's say I have only one country of operation and all my people are in the US. Then do I need to use grade profiles? The answer is no. Then what will be the grade? Grade is the range of pay. So if, then what will be the grade? Then we can have something like this, $50,000, $80,000. That is fine. Isn't it? We don't need to. We don't need to define grade profiles in this particular case, if all my managers are in the US. Only if you need to assign workers to different pay ranges. Other than the default. Only then we will use the option of grade profiles. You don't need to use grade profiles always. Only when we are assigned different ranges, only then we need to use. Okay, is like a trump card up there in your sleeve that we will use only for our rare conditions.